employees be given compassionate leave following the death of a pet? Bosses aren't required by law to grant time off when a pet dies, but it is becoming more common for workers to be allowed time to grieve the loss of an animal.
Pet grief. Should we be entitled to this time off, or is compassionate leave for pets just going maybe a step too far? Joining us is business owner and former Apprentice contestant, you might remember him from that, Daniel Elahi, who says that you should not get time off when a pet dies, plus journalist and broadcaster Christo Foufas, who says that compassionate leave for pets should be allowed, and he's brought in his dog called Dominique Devereux. Dominique Devereux, yeah. Or DD for short.
DD That's quite a name.
Yeah, well, in the park, Dominique Devereux, if I were to shout out that,
I think you might get beaten up. Yeah. I mean, I hate to postulate this, but if Dominique were to slip the leash...
cover her ears, yes.
If she were to... She were to slip the leash as you went home and get hit by a bus, how much time off work would you think you'd need?
Well, I would be absolutely bereft. I mean, I would need time off, absolutely. Especially, I mean, I'm lucky that I work in radio, but if I worked in an office job Monday to Friday, there would be no way that I would be able to perform in a way that was conducive to doing a good job if I was as grief-stricken, because it's grief.
So how much time off would you need?
I would probably... Well, I don't...
I'm your boss, all right, I'm your boss.
OK.
How much time off do you need?
I think I'd need the rest of the week off, then,
The
please.
rest of the week?
Yes.
You want 5 days off?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, perhaps even longer. It's a member of the family.
Perhaps even longer?
It's a member of the family.
You see, I thought you were going to say a day, and I was going to agree with you, but in a week.
I think I'd need a week, because you'd have to have the funeral, you'd have to arrange all of that. I mean, I would need the time off to do that.
How long have you had Dominique for?
Well, she was a rescue from Cyprus, and I got her in September 2015. And we've been through so much together. I've sort of reared her from when she was... Her and her sister, because there's another one as well, from when she came over for the first time. She is absolutely 100% a part of the family, and unlike actually some family members that you can go without seeing for a week or two, I see Dee every morning at the same time. I have to take her out at the same time. You have to feed her at the same time. So that loss of that family member, that routine, would leave me absolutely bereft.
Can I just say that
you a bit of a hard stare at the moment as well, by the way.
Well, I used to be... Yeah, sorry about that, Dominic. I used to be news editor of a newspaper, and I do remember one day, this is many years ago, before I got into television, I remember one morning I got a call from my chief reporter, Christine, and her dog... This is why I asked you the question. Her dog had been run over on the Sunday, and it was a Monday morning, and could she have the day off? And I said, absolutely, and she was terribly upset. You know, it was obvious, she was in tears, and I said, of course, but she only asked for a day. I mean, a week?
I mean, where'd you draw the line? This is what it comes down to. You would take a week off, the next person might ask for 2 weeks off or 3 weeks off. So where do you really draw the line with it? And you've got a dog. What if an employee had a pond and they've got 100 fish? Are they allowed 2 weeks off for every single fish that dies?
Well, I get that.
It's a valid question,
but
right?
Where would you then have the hierarchy? I mean, would you have in your office a sign on the wall saying, you know, dog, you get a week, cat, you get 5 days, goldfish, you only get a day?
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it, personally.
So what would your reaction be, though, Daniel, if an employee came to you and said, look, I'm so upset, my dog has died, please can I have some time off work to get over it? What would you say?
I think it's kind of bespoke. If the firm could afford to kind of give that person time off, I think there's a question about being paid or unpaid, and where the support comes for that individual employee. Are they able to cope with it? And what do you have in place? But if we look at like a small business, I'm a small business owner myself, could you afford to be giving employees 2 weeks off at a time every time a pet dies?
But could you afford not to if they can't perform well in that role? And I understand, you know, the goldfish you got at the fairground, you probably wouldn't need a week off.
Why would a goldfish not have the same time off as your dog?
Because I think it's about reciprocal love, and I think it's about something that you've reared from when it was very young or from birth.
But his point is very good about different species of pet. For example, Bubble and Squeak. My guinea pigs, OK? Bubble and Squeak die. Well, they're long dead. Bubble and Squeak, my guinea pigs. How much time do I get off for them?
Well, it depends on how grief-stricken you are. I mean, you can't measure how much grief that you're going to feel.
You wouldn't feel grief-stricken about guinea pigs dying, would you?
Well, maybe you would. Maybe you would about your iguana. Maybe you would about your snake.
Would some employees take the most of it and say, right, OK, then I need to have however many time off for each pet? You know, it could be open to...
I think that's it. It's very subjective, right? And what about an instance where you've got a farmer? who has thousands of livestock. Are they his pets?
Well, no, that's a business. That's not actual pets. That's them in a business. Yeah, that's different.
Well,
that's not a member of the
That's not
family.
a good point, because farmers kill their animals.
Well, some of them do, some of them don't.
Well, most of them do.
Most, okay.
Okay.
What about someone who works in a zoo,
I
for
think
example?
well, again, the point is, well, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if someone works in the zoo. I mean, if you worked in the zoo and you weren't used to animals dying, you probably are in the wrong job. But what I would say is that if you can't measure how you would feel. If you are feeling grief-stricken, you can't sort of say to yourself, well, actually, sorry, I've had this pet for 10 years. I shouldn't be feeling like this. I'm going to slap myself on the wrist and go into work, even though I'm going to perform not as well, and even though I'm going to be absolutely bereft.
Christo, Charlotte's canary has dropped off its perch.
Right.
She gives you a ring as her boss, and she says, I'm awfully upset about this. I know it's only a bird, but I feel terribly sad. How much time would you give her?
Well, if she said that I needed a couple of days off, I'd say, well,
For a
fine.
canary?
Yeah, if she's that upset about her canary, absolutely.
And who
Yeah.
covers
Well, the
the-
alternative is, sorry, Charlotte, you have got to come into work. You feel absolutely dreadful, but I'm going to make you come in, and I'm going to make you work as hard as possible, even though you're bereft about your canary.
And who covers the economic cost of this? We also understand that finance is obviously secondary in such issues, but if we look at the public sector in this country, it employs 5.5 million staff, and the number of pet owners in this country is 50%. And if you assume an average of 2 days off a year for bereavement, if we assume one a year, that's an extra £1 billion a year.
Good point.
Who covers the mental health cost of this?
But
We are talking
would you be prepared to have your taxes
constantly.
increased by £1 billion, or cutting services in terms of hospitals or police to cover
If it
that
meant that
shortfall?
they would do a better job long term, and actually if their mental health would suffer as a result of having to drag themselves into work, grief-stricken, then
All right.
absolutely. We can't
in the current
say...
economic climate, you would vote to increase
we
taxes by
cannot
£1
talk
billion
about
a year.
we cannot talk about a mental health epidemic and how our pets help our mental health, and then suddenly abandon that when they are no longer with us and we are grief-stricken.
All right,
We
well,
can't have it both ways.
We wish DD a long and healthy life.
We do. We
Keep her away from
absolutely
buses.
do.
Sorry, I must
We haven't
ask you,
upset her
what do
this
you
morning.
think? Holidays?
You've got a dog,
I've got a
Sean.
dog, yeah. I'm not sure I'd take time off, but I would be upset, but I don't think I'd feel it's right to ask to take time off for the dog. I mean...
We're a nation of animal lovers. I mean, are we or not? That's the point.
Well, that's true. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks both for coming in.
Lively
Hi, Dee Dee.
debate.
Thank you.
Thanks
the road
very
carefully
much.
now.
Really was giving you a hard look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a dead stare.
Everybody else was smiling at.